one. And here we go again. This is the Out of the Mud universe, and we are at the Out of the Mud studios, and we're here with Let's Talk with Big Tone, episode 10, Friends, Family, and Issues. And here's Big Tone.
What's up, y'all? I'm glad to be here. I got a very exciting show today. I got a lot of things that we want to talk about. Yeah, I want to give it up to first the New York Knicks for beating Boston, going up 2-0, beating them at home. I know that was hey, that was a real big game. Today we also have a special guest. We got Tamika Thompson sitting here right with me. We also have a very important person. Celestine Starks is on the show with us today. How you doing, Miss Starks? Can you hear us?
Yes, yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. Okay. Today, one of the issues that we want to talk about, Black families and putting our families together and what's happening in young Black families. We also want to talk about kids. Okay, we want to talk about kids, and we also got my friend Marquis Rogers in the house with us. Can you hear us today, Mark?
You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hello? Oh, okay, cool. My phone had died.
Yeah,
My phone
Hey,
had died.
so today,
All right,
yeah, today we want to talk about families and kids and
exactly.
mothers and fathers using their kids as weapons against them. And I myself, I try to talk about my own instances and everything like that. And I have been, in situations where mothers use their kids to kind of maybe control them and get things out of them and get ways that they want their fathers to act in. I want to know, Sister Celeste Starks, give us some insight on that. How do you feel
That's
about
Aunt
that?
Celeste. I did
Yes.
not know that
Okay.
was Aunt
Yes,
Celeste.
yeah. This is okay. Okay. I'm gonna be very transparent, but I'm gonna be honest with you. And you know the vein that I'm gonna come out of, and it may anger a lot of people, but I'm gonna just say this from my standpoint, having been married 46 years and having three kids of my own and two stepkids. Maybe it's my age, maybe it's the generation I came up in, but I never used my kids as pawns against their fathers. Number one, the reason why, and it could be because I've been fortunate to hold on to the ideology of God implementing the family. The family was important to him.
Amen.
You know the story of Adam and Eve. We know how they got off. But
Right.
if
Amen.
you said something in the beginning, you said young Black families, this newer generation, and even though persons in my generations have done things that was not expedient for the kids, but the main focus for me as a parent and a grandparent now, 39 kids, is when you stoop so low, and I use the word stoop so low to use a child as a pawn against that father, you've already broken down that relationship, I believe, that was implemented before he said, let there be light. And he said, let there be light. After everything was created, here comes Adam and Eve, perfect example of what should have been. And we know the story. I'm not going to go into that. This is not a Christian talk show per se, but you
You
asked me my
about
opinion.
whatever.
Okay, the breakdown of the
I
family.
agree.
When you start using that kid as a pawn against that male father, you've already destroyed that man. Number one, that man's spirit has already been broken. If you know the history of slavery and what happened to our brothers in slavery, what they endured in slavery and what they're enduring coming forth now, things haven't changed. So if I'm gonna turn around and use a child that he helped produce and helped me bring into this world to use that child against him, I'm already defeating
Yeah.
the purpose of him being an active member in that child's life. Okay, listen to me well. Listen to me well. There are 48.3 million people in this country as of today that identify themselves as being Black or African American. The head of households now, that number has increased. You have more females that are heading households. It's not necessarily because they want to. It's not necessarily because some of the dads have walked up. Do you want me to stop talking? Because you asked the
No,
wrong person.
no.
Do you want me to stop?
I do want to add, I come from a family where my mom was the head of the household, and it wasn't because of weaponization. It was because of abandonment. So
Okay.
I think it's a very difficult line to toe, right? So there
Yep.
are fathers who want to be active, and there are also fathers who don't. There are also mothers who don't want to be active. So weaponizing either is wrong, and it only hurts the child.
Okay,
Yeah. What?
then you said something, ma'am. Hold on. Now you got me started. I came from
Yeah.
a home in the 50s, two-parent home. Listen to me good, men. Especially I want the men to hear this. We had a mommy and we had a dad. My dad was very active in the home in the 50s and 60s. My dad lost his job. In order for our mother, 9 kids, to get that government free cheese, my dad had to remove himself from the home. So the system, hear what I'm saying, ma'am, you made a valid point. The system made it so in order for us to get that government cheese that don't melt and that spam, my dad had to remove himself from the home. That started a ripple effect, I believe. I have 4 brothers. I had 4 brothers. My dad was able to reunite with us, but the damage was already done systematically. And this is what I'm saying. Systematically, that little, oh Lord, I almost said a bad word. That little stale cheese and rice and potted meat that they gave us was supposed to sustain us. Now we know today through research that hurt us. So I agree with what you say.
So
Totally,
so
ma'am. I
do you
don't
think?
disagree with you. But I do say this, Mr. Tone, out of the mud. I like
Yeah.
your thing, out of the mud. Black men, per se, not all of them, are trying to come up out of the mud. They can't come up out of the
Yes.
mud if we sisters got our hands on them, if the system got their hands on them, and now you didn't turn the
Yes.
child against them, using
Right.
that child to get some toys of us that's not gonna last, taking that child to get some popcorn and a popsicle that is not gonna last. If that man is not able to put some substance into that child so that child will know that is not a bad person.
Right.
Can I speak?
Right.
Woo-hoo.
Right. Right.
Hold
Can I
on.
speak?
Join us in the call 248-820-5053. We are Out of the Mud, brought to you by James Mayfield, the greatest Mayfield, and George Grundy. Again, call us 248-820-5053.
Key, I want to hear what you got to say about that because I know you got kids
First
and
of all, I okay. First of all, I agree with a lot of what Auntie Celeste said, and me just knowing how educated she is and raising family.
Oh, please, Marquis.
I value her words and her opinion. You know what I mean?
Hello, Mr. Marquis. Auntie Tamika's
Hello.
educated too. I have an MBA.
Oh,
I'm working on my doctorate. I'm a
I'm
little
not
bit kind
taking
of
that.
smart too.
uh, yeah.
Hey, I was just giving Auntie Celeste
Okay.
Yeah,
a pat on.
you know
Go,
how.
No
go,
shade on
go,
the way.
Grace.
Yeah,
You know she got a day after
Hey,
her
she's
baby.
my
yeah.
elder.
My auntie got a day
She's
named
my
after her.
elder, and ever since I knew her, she was going to school. You hear
Right.
me? Ever since I known her, she was going to school. Like so,
Correct.
you know, having that just little personal relationship with her, I know that, and she's always been a person
Yeah, you
that
got
I'm gonna
another guest in the
stop talking
house.
and listen to.
Right.
But on the
Okay.
topic though,
But
So
I think
Jalen, what do you think about the topic that women weaponize their children against the
I didn't
fathers?
get to speak. What's up, Jalen? I didn't get the answer for Miss Tamika.
go ahead and
Go ahead, big dog.
say
My bad.
what you had to say,
What's up,
Key.
Jalen?
I got to think about my
So,
answer anyway.
okay,
Yeah,
What'd you say, Jalen?
he's got
I
two.
said I
so
got
a
to think about
woman,
my answer anyway. I'm going to let him go.
I believe for a woman to want to weaponize herself in those means, it means that there's already has been some damage done in previous relationships and instances. Because I like to believe that no woman would deny their child of a parent, especially in these times and days. Now, whatever decisions, she's human. You know what I'm saying? And we don't always make the right choices and decisions the first time. You know, so like I haven't had that happen to me personally, but I know people that it has happened to. And me and Tony have a mutual friend that we just was talking about that the other day.
Right. Oh,
And
crazy.
the thing that Aunt Celeste said when she spoke about it that I could feel is when she said, destroy a man's spirit. Like, man,
So
when you play
so
with a man and his
so
children,
I have quite an opinion on that, Marquis,
okay, go ahead.
because I actually believe that Black women, and I wish I would have worn my 92% letting this thing burn t-shirt, because I personally believe that Black women are forgiving, and and not even personally, we are the most educated. We hold the families together even when the men disappear, even when the men have to leave for
True,
whatever reason. We keep the
true,
family together, and we are the glue that's
true,
still holding the pride of Black people together.
true,
And so there's
true.
nobody lifting Black men up more than Black women.
So
Yeah.
Jay, what do you
Okay,
what do
Miss
you think
Tamika.
about this,
Okay,
Jay?
can I? My hand is up. I act like I'm in
Yeah.
school.
Go ahead.
Hand is up. Okay, my hand is up. I don't
Go
disagree with
ahead.
what you said.
Go,
What I said,
go
Miss
ahead.
Tamika, and thank you, my nephew, for the shout out. When I came on this show, I never mentioned who or what I was. I don't do that. I said to
Wow.
Tony, call me auntie. Is that exactly what I said? Because to me, that piece of paper has caused me more headache than I'd like to say. I'm honored and I'm grateful that God allowed me to do it, but I never mentioned it. I
Right.
have no degrees hanging up in
No,
this
you
house.
did.
None. Okay,
I
now back to
I
what she said about the woman. Let me
can't.
get this in because Tamika, she's just as strong as I am. It is true that Black woman does try her best to hold that family together. The reference that I made, when you
I
break a
agree.
Black man's spirit, literally, you'll destroy that man. And if I'm gonna be weaponizing my kids against that man, maybe I should have come on the show from this particular vein. But I've seen men, Black and white, that have had their spirits broken by women. That man
Right.
does not recover like we do, Miss Tamika. We can,
Do
forgive
we
me, we can
recover,
tie
or do
our
we just
panties
keep
up,
going?
take a licking as a woman, and keep going. Men don't
Do
do
we
that. They try to
do
get
we
into your
recover?
show, Tony. I'm gonna mute myself. I'm gonna mute myself.
No, 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 no. This is great conversation.
We want it like
This
this.
is great conversation.
Right.
And my question is, do we recover, or do we just keep going and live in that anger, pain, and frustration? Because many black first of all, Black people don't like therapy, and we don't go. And so a lot of Black women crash, burn, and become depressed or have other mental issues because we're trying to be strong for everyone.
I
I
agree.
actually I actually listened to a good podcast on relationships, and it said that women, bring up 90% of the problems in relationships because their role in a relationship is to kind of hold it together. So they're hyper vigilant of problems. So they're naturally like, is something wrong? What's going on? Are you okay?
Mm,
So, I
important
mean,
point.
just talking about the role of men and women in relationships in general, I think that and the podcast also talked about how I agree that I think women are more resilient emotionally than men. And it just talked about how women can take loss or emotional pain better than man can.
I think we
But
mask it. I think we mask it better because we don't want our kids to see us fall.
maybe, maybe that could be true. But I mean, I think I like to believe that everyone at their core is a good human being and wants to be. So I think that the people that do take advantage of you, like that's just a hurt human being, and it has nothing to do with whether they're a man or a woman. I
That's
think there
good.
are women that learn that behavior and take
Yes.
advantage of men or use them in
Mhm.
that way. But I think that was a situation that you probably should have seen from the start. And I don't think the intentions were pure for either side. So I don't think it's fair to say that all women are one way, or that's like the goal. I think it's just people are doing what they can to survive, and a lot of people are hurting and trying to figure out how to navigate relationships and life in general.
Okay, my hand is up. Jalen, you made a nice point.
Thank you.
Hurt people cannot help each other. Tamika, you made a point. Black
Yeah.
people, we tend to shy away from mental health. There are so many mental health issues. We work in a district where our kids are traumatized. I'm dealing with kindergartners that
Yes.
come to school that are traumatized. They leave home traumatized. 2019, COVID was one of the worst things that could have happened to us in the educational system with our kids. Our kids were locked in with a tablet with two parents that didn't want to be locked in together. So we have now a generation of kids. I'm talking about kindergartners, Jalen, that are seeing therapists that are telling me I have anger issues. And I'm saying, you can't even spell the word anger. How do you know you have anger issues? And this is what they say to me, Miss Tamika, my therapist. And I'm thinking, I'm 75 years old. And yes, I've seen the therapist, probably need to see one right now. But we're raising a generation of babies that are raising babies. Seriously, when I look at the sisters that come to school, and I see it every day with rollers in their hair, with pajamas on, and I'm saying, you're a beautiful sister. Why do you have to come up in here like that? And then you want to tell me off. I'm trying to help your child. You're not listening to what I'm saying. So I recognize that you're dealing with trauma. Your kid is coming to school dealing with trauma. And Miss Tamika, you said an important thing. Black people seem to be afraid of therapy. We seem to think that it's a taboo.
We do.
I need to lay on somebody's couch today myself. You understand what I'm saying? I'm
I
being very
laid on
honest.
one this morning.
Okay, yeah. So
Actually,
go
Jalen,
back to Out of the Mud's initial question. Why do women weaponize their kids? Some of them, not all of them. I'm not going to say all of them. Some of them use it
It
as a
does happen.
means to get what they want from their dad. They misrepresent the ideology, that their message that they're sending to their kid, because I see it every day
Yes.
at school. And I agree with the young man with the glasses on. I ain't gonna call him my nephew because we're professional. Not all people are like that, guys. We live in a sick world. We have sick people. Our world is broken. Our
It
world
is.
is taking another hit.
right.
Emotionally, spiritually, economically, financially. Our world has taken another hit and we're trying to regroup. Some of us are still trying to regroup from 2019. Some of us are still trying to figure out how we're going to go from paycheck to paycheck. I was in the store yesterday and a lady said to me, she said, ma'am, I can't even buy meat. I said, what do you mean you can't buy meat? She said, and she's working in the store. She said, I can't even afford meat. You a mom and you got 5 or 6 kids, and I've seen this, and I'm gonna stop talking. You're a mom and you're 33 years old and you got 5 kids, and you juggling between working as a CNN at the nursing home, dropping this one off at daycare, bringing the other 4 to school, and some days you don't even have gas money to get back to your job. So you got 3 different babies' daddies, okay? And these kids know that they all got different daddies. And one kid will say, well, my dad will do this. The other kid will say, my dad didn't do that. What position does that mom have to keep that family together other than sometimes manipulation to get what she wants for that third child, and all of them get to get a piece of what that third child got? So the problem is, go back to Miss Tamika. Miss Tamika, highly educated Miss Tamika, my hat off to you, girlfriend. Let's go back to Miss Tamika. A lot of us are college educated. That don't mean a hill of beans when you got to pay that gas bill and you're a single mother with 5 kids. You're trying to find a way either to manipulate the system, some, not all, because you brought it up. Your mother was a single parent, and some dads are
My
absent
kids.
because they with kids. My dad was not absent because he wanted to be. In order to get that government cheese, I hate it to this day. I don't eat spam to this day. My dad had to remove himself for real. He had to
Yeah.
remove himself from the house so we could
So
get them moon pies in the lunchroom. They put us up against the wall and they called us welfare kids. For real, Miss Tamika. So all I'm saying is, to me, just me at 75 years old, when that black man's spirit is broken, that's one of the hardest human beings to raise back up. And I'll go all the way back to slavery if you want me to, all the way back to biblical times if you want me to, but that's not what the show is about.
so
Okay.
Not
Mr.
what the
Grenda,
show is about.
you guys you wanted to say something. You had a comment on this. Um
I was trying my best not to say anything because this your show.
No,
And I'm loving the dialogue.
right.
But based on the question and women using children, now I don't have any children that I know of.
Right.
You always disclaimer.
That I know, right? Because I'm not going to deny that I might have done some things here or there along the way. But at the times where women said and told me that they were pregnant, one told me she had an abortion. A year later, she told me she lied just to hurt me. Another one, she told me that I was never going to see the child, and she had a child, but she didn't know who the father was. So, and she was telling me she was going to put me on the paperwork and all this other stuff. And I was the only guy out of the ones that she knew about. Because I just met her. It wasn't no crazy stuff, but I met her and she just had a lot of stuff going on in life, and I just happened to be one of them. And so she was abusing me because I was the only person taking her to the doctor's appointments, all this
Right.
other stuff. We didn't know each other very well, so I could have been like, nah, you on your own. See you later. But my parents raised me to be responsible for my actions, and so I was trying to do my best. But the point was that there have been many women, Black women, that have used the thought of children, the idea of children, and the heart pulling, which some people should be emotional about it, the possibility of children, in order to hurt me.
That's I think at the end of the day, when a man or a woman do that, try to keep the kids from their parents, it's all about hurt. It's all about control.
Yes.
It's like you said, my son was talking about it earlier, that hurt people.
Right.
So it's like, I think people need to heal more. You know what I'm saying? I know, me growing up having kids young, there's a lot of things I didn't understand. There was a lot of things that could have went better if I was communicating more
Right.
with the person, and really understanding like how you feeling about things.
Right.
I think there's a lot of good fathers. You know, I have a
Absolutely.
friend who is a great father. Like, if you knew him, I would like him to be my father. My friend Smitty, and his girlfriend, who he had a child with, wanted to keep the child away from him because she felt like, and this happens a lot of the kids, a lot of the mothers, the fathers, they try to keep them away from the other parent, because the other parent will do better, and that they might feel like, hey, that's going to make me look bad. You know what I'm saying? So they do everything they can to keep the fathers or mothers out of their lives, just so they don't look bad. So, you know, it's real tragic. It's a thing, like, you start fighting and people get tired. Parents get tired.
Yeah.
Key, have you ever been trying to be in your kids' lives, and you just, not saying that you don't want to be in their lives, but you get tired of fighting the parents?
Hello? Can you
I
guys
can't
hear
hear
us?
you. You might be muted. I can hear you guys. I can't hear him. I think he's trying to talk.
Okay.
So what
So
do you,
yeah, we can
what,
hear you,
what
Jay.
do you think, Jay? Oh,
Let me give the number 248-820-5053. Out of the Mud Inc. James Mayfield, the greatest Mayfield, and George F. Grundy II. Out of the Mud Inc. All
yeah.
right, Jalen.
I
Sorry.
think I think it kind of I think we bring up an interesting point about like the whole purpose of like family form, like the whole reason like you get married and form a family generally is to have kids. So I
Right.
think for a woman, like usually they want to see like the financial ability for you to take care of her and the kid when you're getting together. So I think it's a natural urge for a woman to say, we had this kid, whether you want to or not, now you're taking care of us. And I think I don't know, it's just the social construct we have with the courts and I mean the marital
It's crazy
system.
that you say when you have a kid with someone, with a woman, um they naturally say, "Hey, you're going to take you are responsible for us for the next 18 years, not just your kid, for us." And I think that's where a lot of the problems come in at, you know.
Yeah, again,
Yeah.
I think it has to go back to intention. Like, why else are you messing with someone other than to have a family and settle down?
Can you hear us, Auntie? Can you hear me, Auntie?
Yeah.
She said, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm thinking like, well, why else are you messing with that person if not to have a family, settle down, and then take care of them? I think that's like, if everyone's intentions were right and hearts were in a good place, then you should be. This is going to be my woman. This is going to be my child. I want to take care of you. But I
But
think a lot of people get into relationships in a different step where it's maybe in an immature place, and then
Yeah,
kind of roles get mixed up,
correct.
and it kind of gets weird.
right, I think a lot of it is, and I think we're sidestepping the issue, and George alluded to it, is that we're reckless.
Right.
People are reckless, and then they get in these situations, and yeah, maybe the woman wants to be taken care of, or wants a relationship because now she's having a child by this man. And yeah, I think as a society as a whole, there we have stepped back from our normal values, and now it's wide open, and but we still want to have the same expectation as if it were as if it were a marriage, as if it were a full relationship, when all honesty, sometimes it's just a hookup.
We got a caller. Call it in right now.
Well, these are right in. So
Right.
Tommy Boy, he said therapy is a must. Let's not
Absolutely.
worry about what
Absolutely.
people think. Take the healthiest route to healing. And then he also said that's why siblings is so quickly to fight each other
Yes.
like strangers. No order in the balance of the kids.
Or the family, the whole family construct has been torn apart.
You know,
Keith has been trying to say something, guys. I don't know if we can't hear him, but he's
I
had his
We
think
can't
hand
hear
up.
his
him.
phone is on
Tell,
mute. He has to
yeah,
unmute himself.
you muted yourself.
Yeah.
unmute yourself, Keith. You're muted right now. But I wanted to throw a question out there to everybody. What do you think? What do you think we could do to heal it? You know, what can we do to grow our families and grow our communities? And what do you?
Well, I think it kind of goes back to, again, like the formation of I think relationships and dating is in a weird place in general, and it has been for a while. You know, it's like the traditional family is kind of dying, and I think the younger generations are starting to see, like, okay, maybe there it's a good thing to have like gender roles and social norms. Maybe a man should do this, a woman should do this. But I think for, you know, decades, I think that's kind of been like the opposite, where
Right.
there were no real roles. And I think not that there should be, but I think if you don't sit down and do premarital counseling and figure out, okay, what do you want out of a relationship, what do I want out of a relationship,
Expectations, great.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's nothing wrong with it, but we're in a more modern world where we don't really know what the relationship roles should look like for a man and a woman right now.
Right.
If I
Okay,
could,
I'm gonna speak for Keith because we can't hear him. Tamika, she said this, and Jalen, you said this. Hurt people cannot help each other. Number one, even if you go into premarital counseling and you have baggage that has not been checked
That's
or
true.
not been left at the door. When I say left at the door, I can't compare. I've been married twice. I can't compare what my first husband did to me with this second husband. I got left with a 9-month-old baby sitting on the step and the neighbors laughing. Now, I've been fortunate to be married 46 years this time, but I choose to put in the work because I've been through what it feels like to be a scarlet letter on your chest. Understand what I'm saying? So I
Yes.
bust my
What do you
butt off.
mean when you say scarlet letter on
Oh
someone's
my
chest?
God.
What is that?
Read the book. Read the book, dude.
You
Read
ain't
the
never
book.
read the book,
I,
boy.
I
Scarlet
see the
Letter.
scarlet letter.
Shameful.
Okay.
You
Okay.
said you felt shameful, Auntie? I
And
mean,
you know what? You know, and a lot of women internalize that if their marriage doesn't work out. again, and I think somebody said it. I think maybe it was Jalen. We wonder, what did we do wrong?
Right.
What could we have
Yes.
done better? And yeah, I understand that fully.
So
Yeah.
back to
I
Jalen.
think everybody asked that question though, not just women.
Okay,
Okay,
Keith,
I
speak
think
up, Keith.
everybody asked that question.
Yeah, you do. You
you're
got to
right.
take accountability.
I think everybody asked that question.
The
Key,
young man that's
you should go get
hosting
Miss
this show,
Roderick.
Tony, the guy, Tony, Antonio, the guy that spoke that said he didn't have any kids that he knew of, he said one thing that was important to me. He was raised right. When he
Yeah.
thought he was going to be the father of a child, he did what his parents told him to do by the young lady. Okay? A lot of times, and I know you're running out of time, I go back to my original thought when me and Miss Tamika were kicking it. Accountability. Take responsibility
Right.
for what my brother used to tell us. What role did you play in something going west, something going east, something going south? All of us on this conversation are adults, and we have to
It
take
takes two.
responsibility. What role did I play in the marriage collapsing? What role did I play in manipulating my kids to make their father feel less than a man? What role did I play in manipulating this man to get something out of this man for this kid, so then I can come back home and we all can get a piece of it. So I just say this in my closing remarks at marker 3109: take responsibility. Because it's not going to get any better, Jalen. You're one of the fortunate young African American men that are established. You can write your own ticket. Not many men can do that. Not many
That's
men
right.
in this era can do that, Jalen. My head goes off to you. And I'm
That's
not saying it
very
because I'm
true.
your auntie and I love you. We live in a world now where you and other young men who are going the path that you're going, you can write your own ticket. You can bring anything that you want to the table. There are sisters that can set the table, they can design the table, they can get the tablecloth, they can get the plate. In actuality, they could say, I don't need a man. But is that the best? Is that the best? And we
Right.
got some independent
Can
women,
I can I can
strong
I say
willed
one
women.
thing?
Yes, sir.
Can I say one thing? So
Yeah.
when you guys brought up society, we know where society is now, but when you start talking about society and marriage in the same sentence, I think you're not going to come up with any solutions, because from my experience in this life and things like that, um, there's got to be a public outcry or public rage for anything to happen to change. You know what I'm saying? So, like, without any public outcry, without people like you guys speaking up on these issues and talking about these things, we can't make any changes.
We hear you. I hear you, Sister Scott.
So we have a
But
caller
there
on.
is a
Caller, can
public
you hear us?
outcry, guys. We see it, we hear it, and sometimes we ignore it. Look at the rate of our black
We
boys
have a
being
caller
killed.
on. Let's see if
There
that
is.
caller can hear us right now.
What they want us to be quiet, I think.
Just so we can see if the caller's on. Are you still on, caller?
Yes, I'm still on.
You got to turn your phone down.
My phone is down.
Caller, are
Can
you
y'all
there?
hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello, Sister Scott.
Hello.
Uh-oh.
Hello.
My thing, I've been sitting up here listening, and my whole thing in the beginning, if you go back to the beginning, if we
Yeah.
as people would learn lessons until you are ready and established to have a family or kid, you should abstain from having sex. Let's go back to the Bible where it says don't have sex before you are ready to have responsibility for that child.
What you feel about that, Mr. Scott?
Exactly.
I mean,
But look,
you
look at
keep talking about the kids and the
Exactly.
mothers and the father is stop having sex
That's right.
before you are
That's
ready
true.
Abstain.
to have a family, can
Well,
afford a family,
well,
can raise
right.
a family. Because for me, my lesson was saying, don't have no kids, go to school, get an education, learn to take care of yourself before you bring somebody into the relationship. Because then you want to blame, well, they are the one who made me do that.
Mhm.
No, they didn't.
Yeah,
No, they didn't.
yeah.
Tell the darn truth about it.
That's right. That's
Well, we
right.
did. We did talk about that, caller. Okay, well, she just stopped everybody on here from having sex. Thank you, Jesus.
Hey, look.
Hey, Mr. Les, I can't have any more babies. I'm good.
Hey, listen.
They did. They took all my plumbing 20 years ago. I ain't got nothing.
Hey, listen.
And see, I think that's another thing, Tom. Like when you talk about the fathers and the kids
Oh my
and the
God.
family thing, it goes back to how that relationship started. You know what I'm saying? And what Miss Sharon said about not having sex, like you got to take that, you got to start that, man, so early now, you know, because if you don't, you know what's gonna happen. I mean, it's just one of those things. In society, it seemed like they're trying to make it okay. You know,
Yeah.
they're trying to, you know.
We got a question in the studio.
A studio.
The studio.
So I just would like to add to it also. I think cognitive distance has a lot to do with what's going on here.
Oh yeah,
And
Yes.
definitely.
we have to. Women taught me about sex. Women taught me what the rules on sex was. Women taught me about relationships. Women taught me where I stood in relationships. Women taught me where I was in the dating pool and where I was as far as a man compared to other men. So for me, and black women were my first lesson to those things. Women introduced me to this other world that I didn't know. My parents taught me what the Kojic Church wanted me to know. Women in the Kojic Church and other women taught me things that they and some
Extracurricular.
crackhead dudes taught me some other things that my parents didn't want me to know. So like sex was something that was introduced in elementary school, and I'm 47. So it's having children out of wedlock has been going on since
Oh yeah, beginning of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what was crazy?
and so and I'm gonna get out the way. So my thing is, we have to have, in my opinion, there have to be more real conversations about
Definitely.
how we are, because we are very passionate people when it comes to the black community. We have an eye for appeal. And for me, when my time in Atlanta, Georgia, where women showed me that I had a lot of value to them, even though I didn't know a lot of them and all this other stuff, and where I fit in so that social structure until I moved back to Flint, Michigan. So it's that has to be addressed, because those things are real. When you have people that are longing for affection and love and a common thought process to belong to someone, because I was there too. I'm there now, because 47, I've had these different adventures and still haven't found a woman that fits my everything. Even if I have found her, I lost her. However that goes, it has to be addressed, because we have to show responsibility, get away from this cognitive dissonance, or saying that you have this kind of facade of not enough, or that's not what I want, I'm gonna wait, because waiting leads you to arthritis, cancer, and death, and nothing else.
Yes.
You know,
So I'm gonna leave it there.
It's nothing better than having a partner that's willing to put in the work with you.
And then go. You said something. Go back to the Kojic Church. There's some decent women in the Kojic Church that love God. He who findeth a wife findeth a good thing. Just go back to your roots. You ain't got to have them silly women. The Bible talks about silly women, but just go back to the Kojic Church and ask God to lead you to somebody that's compatible with you, that'll help you and her build up your spiritual relationship as unto the Lord. You already said it, Kojic. You came out of Kojic, so I know what they didn't tell you. I already know what you didn't learn in the church. I already know. Just go back to Kojic.
Yes, ma'am.
But
thank you.
But I want to offer something for everyone to think about, and feel free to call in 248-820-5053. I think a lot of us jump head first into relationships and we're not healed.
Yeah.
And so we think we want something, but we can have everything that they can give us, everything that we want. But if we aren't healed and we don't know how to love ourselves, we can't love anyone else. So you have these relationships that don't work out. And again, the person is wondering why, and all the bitterness, because two unhealed people are trying to cohabitate, and it's not going to work. If you're not at the right stage and mental state in your life, and they're not at the right stage and mental state, it's never going to work. It's not going to be good to bring a family and children or anything into it. I think.
And another thing, Miss Tamika, if you don't know who you are in a relationship, if you're looking for somebody to validate you in the
Yes.
relationship,
Oh my God.
nobody can fill that hole that's in your heart. Nobody.
Antonio and I were talking
We
about
was
that
just
on the ride over.
we was
Like,
just talking
you
about
know,
that.
like some people are loving people, so they'll try to pour into a broken person, and they'll find themselves broken.
Man,
Broken. Yeah.
it's crazy because
And then you start to
talked about
compromise your own morals.
Yes.
Yes.
we
You know
talked
that
about validation, and that's something that I really I didn't understand, because I felt like I've never
right.
felt like I needed validation from anybody.
Right.
If I felt like I needed validation from anybody, it would be maybe my kids or maybe my parents or something like that. But
Right.
other than that, I never really looked for validation from anybody.
Right.
I always felt confident in who I was, no matter what stage of life I was in. I done been in terrible
Whatever.
stages
Don't
in
even
my
go
life.
there. Hey, Aunt Celeste, he forgot. I knew him when he was in 8th grade.
Thank
Right.
you. Thank you. But you're one of the lucky ones, Tony,
Hey,
because most people are looking to be validated. Most people are looking to be accepted. Most
but
people, and how you know that, seriously,
Isn't that
guys, let's
something
get real.
yourself, though?
No,
That
Yeah,
when
when you
but
you
have
you
um,
one of the lucky ones. You one of
that
the
no,
lucky ones.
I feel like
when you have a
that
good
should come
supportive friend,
from inside of you.
no. And I am going to tell you, I stopped my doctorate program because I had to ask myself, why am I trying to go get a doctorate? I've reached the mountaintop of my career. I'm doing well. But it's that validation. And I was raised by a single mother with 5 kids, and I was the oldest. So I always say this: my mother loved me, but I wasn't raised with love. I was raised in the struggle. I know about coming out the mud. So I've always excelled so that I can get the validation that I'm doing well. I'm proud of you, because I didn't get that growing up because my mama was working 2 jobs. You know what I'm
that's
saying?
right.
So
Yeah.
again, I've had to heal from a lot of that, and I have to search from within and say, and question myself on a lot of things that I do. But um kids need validation. That's why
Mhm.
Miss Celeste, you're seeing 5-year-olds with anger problems because they come from broken parents and broken homes and broken
Mhm.
situations, and they need love, and their parents don't have it to give.
Right.
And that's what we're dealing with.
I've been in that
Yeah.
situation. I've seen that situation. Um, I've seen that situation up close. I've seen where a kid wants his mom to show him love, to show him validation, and all of that stuff, type of stuff, and she just wasn't. She wasn't given that, so she didn't know how to give it um, to their kids, and it's a real sad situation that a lot of
What?
kids a
What?
lot of kids just want their parents to validate them
Well,
or
Well, I told you my grandmother recently passed, and my mom didn't make it to her mom's funeral. And it was because she never got that validation either. So
Oh,
I mean, this is generational. So, and how do we heal? We heal one small circle at a time. Build the community up of a community of people who are loved and know how to give back. That's the only way we break this curse. And I am fortunate enough to see my mom heal from that, but a lot of people never do.
so when how do you get to the point to where, like, a lot of parents, like you said, your mom was working and
Yeah.
everything like that. How do we get to the point, how did you get to the point to where you have forgiven your mom and said, hey,
yeah.
um maybe 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 you grow up
I
more.
figured it out once I had my own child. Like,
Right.
oh, this is not easy.
Life is not easy.
and I was married, and we were a partnership, and it was still a struggle. So I realized that my mom sacrificed a lot, that my mom did a lot, and she did it by herself, and she raised us, and we're all successful. And she did it without being loved by her mom. So
Okay, I think if I could address what the owner of this station said without getting in trouble, this is just me, and you guys can send me an email. Go back to the creator, number one.
Yes. Yes.
Go back to the creator,
Yeah.
number one. Because if he designed us and made us in such a way, and I'm not trying to tell anybody you got to fall out over the pulpit, spit up, and all that stuff, go back to the original creator of us all. He has a blueprint, he has a plan. We got off the potter's wheel. We were on the potter's wheel. We were being shaped, we were being formed, and then we hit the bump in the road. The bump in the road
Yep.
caused a lot of us on this line to have some hurt, some anger, some dysfunctionality. And as Miss Tamika said, we weaponized those things that were not good for us, and they became a part of us. They became the secret sins that we don't tell anybody about.
that's true.
That's the honest to goodness truth. We don't tell people the truth. I got in trouble in church for standing up. Keith, I love you, for telling the truth. I got a phone call before I got home, and they said, you just tell too much of your business. If I tell it and I get it out, that door is closed. But you want to open that door back because I've said something to help me and to help the people that are listening. The baby
Grow.
said it in the beginning. Kojic, and I'm not just using Kojic, the Baptist, the Methodist. Go back to the original designer that made us and ask him,
Celeste,
what can we do to bring the families? Because we're talking about families. That's what he implemented, and that's the thing that the enemy went after in the garden. Did God not say, if you eat this, you're going to surely die? He told Eve a half truth. Adam was given the responsibility to cover Eve. He did not cover Eve. And as a result, we're sitting here today, we're telling half truths. But the truth is, go back to the original creator and ask him as a parent, as a grandparent, what can we do? Keith made a good statement. What can we do to change the trajectory of what's going on in our world? Because based on statistics, it's going to get worse before it gets better.
absolutely.
It's going to get worse. We're going to have more young mothers. When you give a 17-year-old a voucher to get an apartment, that you won't give a 66-year-old a voucher to get an apartment to help herself, but you give a 17-year-old, I'm telling y'all the truth, a voucher. She fills it up with her friends. She ends up losing her place with a baby because, number one, she didn't know how to handle the
Right.
responsibility of having a 3-bedroom place, paying $17 a month, food stamps, and everything. She wasn't ready.
Wow.
Some of us 55-year-olds are not ready. Some of us 75-year-olds are not ready. So, excellent topic, Mud. Look about what you said, out of the mud. We're all still coming out of the mud.
Yes,
What
we
is
are.
mud made of? Dirt. We're all going back to dirt. We're all going to go back to what the creator designed one way or another. Tamika, you're a smart lady. I like you. Smart lady. I love you, Keith. And Tony, I love you. But let's tell the truth.
Yeah.
Go
That's
back to the
right.
original creator. He didn't create us to do all of this stuff, but he gave us
Right.
a free will. He's not going to mess with your will. He's not going to come down here and say, I'm a Yankee till you do what's right. All of us have an internal guide in us. And we hear that little small voice, even me, that tells us you went too far, Celeste. Shut up. Zip it up. Zip it
I
up. I'm
think
for real.
it's
Yeah,
it's
no.
I'm for
it's,
real.
it's
Thank you for having me on. I
yes.
appreciate it.
I appreciate you, Auntie Celeste. You know, I think you
I
a
told you to call
walking.
me Celeste. Don't say auntie.
I forgot.
This is
I
professional.
forgot. I forgot,
You can say
sister.
Sister Stark.
I forgot, Sister Starks. You know, I really appreciate you coming in and giving your insight. Yeah, I appreciate you. I I appreciate you too, Marquis. You're gonna have to definitely come on the show again. I really love this show. I really love the topics.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
I think it was really good. Before we go, I just want to say I feel like Black people, us as a whole, we should encourage more mental health.
Yes.
Yes.
I was talking to my son. My son is the one who really talked to me, and he said there's a lot of things going on in your head that you
Mhm.
need to like just clear out. And growing up, it was mental health and therapy. That was something that was shunned on in
You
a
give it
black
to God.
in a
You give it
black
to God.
neighborhood. And I think now I think now for sure, myself, I've talked to people before, and it's good to talk to someone and get it off of you and move on with things, childhood trauma,
Mhm.
things that
Mhm.
in your life. I think anybody who's listening to this, I think getting a therapist and having someone that you can really talk about and help you get your thoughts off would be a good thing.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Amen. We agree. Let's pass the
I
offering pan.
I just I would like I'm agree with what I'm saying with Sister Stark said, like until we get back to the foundation of the morals and the rules and then the laws, man, we like it's ultimately it's just gonna get worse,
It's I think that
and
starts
that's
with
what
you though,
society.
Key.
I think, hold on, Tom. I think that's what society has it twisted, and they're telling people that they can make it, they can live without that presence or of knowing God in their lives, and I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I believe you need Him more than you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Amen.
Amen.
You need Him,
Definitely.
everybody.
Hey, well, I want to thank everybody for coming in, for tuning in today. I
Yeah.
want to thank Mr. George Grundy again
Yep.
for George F. Grundy the second for giving us this platform.
Yes.
I really appreciate it. Come join us next week. We're gonna have a great show. Thank you. I love you.
Thank
Good
you.
job, guys.
Bye.
We do
Yeah.
have some people that said something. So Sharon Scott said, learning to listen to wisdom when it's told to you.
Right.
Yes.
From the
Amen.
start. Thank you. We love y'all.
Bye.
And this has been Let's Talk with Big Tone, episode 10, Friends, Family, and Issues on the Out of the Mud universe. Let's go.
Thank you. Love y'all.